Sometimes they can't see I'm the baddest with my style, and some things make it wild, but I prove that I can conquer anything. So from my head to toe, I'm taking full control. I'll make it on my own this time. Watch me shine. Better watch out, going for the knockout, and I won't stop till I'm on top now. Not gonna give up until I get what's mine.
All right, my fabulous Sonder fam, welcome to our first weekly setup for January 2024. And if you know me, I am super excited that the year and the month are starting off on a Monday. It makes our journal so nice and tidy. That is just, I gotta say, 2024 has got to be a great year because it's starting off great, right? So I'm hoping that's the way it goes, right? Yes, that week. Yeah, definitely in my universe, the calendar would always, the month would always start on the 1st, and it's the year starting on the 1st, and it's a Monday, and it just is lovely. So my name is Maya, and I am coming to you from Denver, Colorado, where it is was a lovely sunny day, but now it's getting dark outside. So there is a rosebud thorn. Andrea, is that what you were? Oh, for the previous week. I see what you're saying. If you're in your January journal, I see what you're saying. So we are going to work on setting up the week, making you feel good about tackling that first week of the year, week number 1. How many of you are brand new to Silk and Sonder, or this is your first setup social that you've been to? You can raise your hand. I see Carrie, and I saw Charlotte, Amy, Hillary, Michelle, lots of new folks. Love it, love it. Sarah, oh my gosh, now the chat's going really fast. So just know that we always have a weekly social. Sometimes we have multiple ones on Saturdays. Sundays and Mondays. This weekend, this is the only setup social we are going to have because of the holiday. It will be recorded, so you can always watch it again. So just know that that's there. And also, we have over, Katie, what was it, 600 recorded socials that are on our YouTube channel now. So there's always lots of things for you to watch while we're not actually live. Yeah, 633 different recorded socials in our YouTube channel. So plenty of things to watch. Yes, and Nathania is reminding folks or telling our new folks that the chat screen will go really fast, right? And especially tonight when there's, we're getting close to 260 people that are here tonight, so that chat can go really fast. So take some screenshots or, copy paste those kinds of things. I will tell you, for the recording, there's no chat. It's just the recording of the slides and the music and what we're working for. So just keep that in mind. So let's see, let's dive in a little bit. Oh, also, I want to make sure to remind you, set your chat to everyone. That little blue box, it's very obnoxious in Zoom, especially if you're on an iPhone or an iPad, because it likes to revert back to host and panelist. And when it does that, the only people who can see what you're typing are myself and my fabulous co-host, Katie. And Katie is coming to us from Edinburgh, Scotland, where I think it's about midnight. She's going to pop on and give y'all a little wave. She's a night owl, which is great. So we have our over across the pond correspondent here with us tonight. But if it only shows host and panelist, that means we're the only ones seeing it. So we'll try to remind you if it flips back and forth, but just know that it very easily might do that. So a couple other community guidelines. We want to make sure that this is a safe and supportive space for all of our Sonder fams. So we just ask that you're kind and courteous to yourself and others. No promotions or spam, respecting folks' privacy, no hate speech or bullying, limiting those repetitive product and accessory questions. The best place to ask about what type of pens, what type of stickers, what type of washi tape is in our app, the Sonder Club. That way you can get lots of folks giving you links and giving you lots of different things to all the different products. Also, if you have any customer care inquiries, so things like shipping, things like you need to change your address or billing or those kinds of things, those all go to hello@silkandsonder.com. Katie and I don't have access to anybody's account. We can't look you up. We can't see, if your journal is in shipment, when it's going to be there, those kinds of things. So any of that goes to hello@silkandsonder.com. Just know they're a Monday through Friday group working, 9 to 5 on Pacific time. So sometimes it takes a little while for them to get back, and especially this weekend, of course, because of the holiday. And the most important thing to remember is that Sonder Socials are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of community. And we have a fabulous, super supportive, super creative community here. But remember, you are ultimately responsible for your own emotions, well-being, and decisions. So if there's ever an activity we're doing that's not jiving with you, it doesn't feel right, it's not your jam, skip to something else. You can color, you can work on a different section. If you don't like the music I'm playing, you can put it on mute, right? And just turn the closed captioning on. Same thing if you don't want to hear my voice, right? You can turn the closed captioning on, you can see what I'm saying, and you can continue to work. It's all about what works for you. And we're so, so happy to see folks spending some time for self-care with us to get this set up. So hopefully you all have your January journals. If you don't, that is not a problem. This is a great time to still attend, take notes. Oh, Andrea, thank you for saying, I love all your ladies' voices. That's so sweet. Take notes, take screenshots, all of that. And then when the journal shows up, you'll be good to go, right? So our theme is the theme of ambition. So it's an interesting theme, right? And when I first saw it, I was kind of like, I don't know how I feel about this theme. Does anybody else feel like that? I know some people we've already seen in the monthly setups, we're kind of feeling like, ooh, yeah, Jenny, Kay, it kind of, and I've been kind of doing a little bit of research on it. And I think, yeah, so some people are kind of saying ambition sometimes has that negative connotation, right? It's like work, it's like competition, it seems maybe like a little bit of a stressor. So I'm going to give you something else to kind of think about, right? Yeah, Monica's saying overachieving, right? So think of ambition. Here's a way to think. Yeah, and I love like you guys are coming up with like it's selfish, maybe you're not feel it's okay, right? One thing I have noticed, and I talked with other facilitators about this, I talked with Katie about it too, is that sometimes those themes that we struggle with, right, we have some resistance to, sometimes those are the ones we want to dig into. Okay. So what I want you to do, open mind, right? And just kind of see how this feels this month. If the word is just really grating on you, I gave you some synonyms, right? Maybe it's aspiration, maybe it's intention, maybe it's goal, maybe it's aim, objective, purpose, intent, mission, calling, desire, wish, initiative, right? Different things. Yeah. And Barb is saying, can't stop hearing the 9 to 5 theme, right? Where Dolly says, pour yourself a cup of ambition, right? And so maybe think of it that way. Also, maybe it's coffee, or whatever your cup of ambition is, right? But you might also want to think of ambition as the belief that there are more positive things in the future that you haven't discovered yet, right? And we also want to accept that ambition and failure sometimes go together, and that failure is part of learning and growing. And I definitely see some folks in the chat talking about sometimes for women, ambition is kind of a like a bad word, right? Like it's seen as selfish, it's seen as pushy, it's seen as um, that icky feeling, right? So I want you to, I totally get it, right? And sometimes it's good if you want to do a little journal prompt for yourself, kind of thinking about how you feel about ambition, that's fine. But really try to think about, it's like this strong desire to do or to achieve something, typically requiring determination and hard work, the desire and determination to achieve success. And I know for a fact from doing this for almost 3 years now that we have some very ambitious Sonder fam members. You work so hard to achieve things. We have people graduating from school. We have, master's degrees, bachelor's degrees, PhDs. We have people that get new jobs. We have people that leave toxic relationships. We have people that really are wanting to have something more. And I definitely don't think ambition needs to be associated with that burnout feeling. And I think sometimes it is, right? So see how that sits with you, kind of play around with it, have that open mind, right? That beginner's mind, and just kind of think how that feels. Yeah, Sierra, one of our facilitators, Karen, she opened up her own Pilates studio. I think in October is when she opened, and she is doing great. But it took a lot of ambition and a lot of work, a strong desire to do that, right? And so it can be a good thing. So I'll check back in with you at the end of the month when I do a setup social and see how folks are kind of feeling about this theme. But again, if it just isn't hitting it for you, put in a different word. Okay. So we are going to do the mind map. And I am only going to we set it up so there's 4 weekends this month, even though I know technically there's 5. But on that 5th weekend, we're going to kind of transition over to the February. So just know you can divide it into 4s. Then we're going to work on our rosebud thorn, which is technically in the last section of the December journal, but we'll talk about where you can put that if you only have January. And we'll work on our weekly setup pages, all right, which are on page 26 and 27. So I always use these 2 little cartoons because I like to remind people of a couple things. First of all, there's room for you here just as you are. If things are going great, we love when you share great news with us, that you got a new job, that you got a promotion, that you bought a new house, or your kiddos are doing great in school, all of those kinds of things, right? We're totally here. We love to celebrate with our Sonder fam. However, we know that life is not always a series of ups. We have to take the downs with the ups, right? The hills and the valleys. So if you're in that valley, if you're struggling with something, we also want to hear about that. And sometimes it's really helpful just to hear someone else say, me too, I'm struggling with that. I have an issue with that, or I've had that issue. So if you need to share, maybe you lost a job, maybe you have a stressful job. Maybe we have folks who have been ill, obviously, right? Illness kind of tends to show up in the winter time. We have folks who have lost family members. We have people who have lost our little hairy family members, right? We're here for that as well. So don't ever think something is, you don't want to sound like you're tooting your own horn, or you don't want to sound like a sad person, right? Again, we're here for you just as you are. And also, the way you feel matters, and no emotion you feel is bad or unworthy. So no one can ever tell you shouldn't feel a certain way, or like that shouldn't upset you, or that shouldn't make you mad, or that shouldn't make you feel bad. Nobody can really tell us how we should feel about things, right? So we're here to feel all the feels, to hear all the things, and love to hear all the different things that our Sonder fam are doing. So on the weekly setups, we always do what we call a mind map, where we can dig a little bit into this theme. And this is a great place to really start to poke around with this idea of ambition, right? And so we're going to reflect on different aspects of ambition and how you see it playing out in your life. So we're going to do that over 4 weekends this month. And this week, we are going to focus on this particular question. And so these mind maps are done. You can find a blank page because it's not actually in your journal. It's just going to be on a blank page somewhere, or maybe the scratch pad section, or a sticky note, or something like that. And we'll have 4. And I'll show you how I kind of set mine up for the month. And since this is the first setup, I didn't have any examples from Sonder Fam, but I'm guessing in subsequent setups, folks will have examples for you, right? So here's your question. What drives you to achieve more in your life, either now or in the future? Is it money? Is it freedom, your own satisfaction, praise from others, or something else entirely? Okay. So this is what I did to kind of set mine up. I'll be honest, I did not have time to actually write out mine yet, and because I wanted to give off a little more time to think about it. So that's the other thing too. Sometimes during the socials, when we go through some of these things, we're only together for an hour. So sometimes that's really fast and you want to spend a little more time. So sometimes just setting it up and getting ready and then working on it after the social is absolutely fine. So I just divided it into 4 quadrants, right? And so what we're thinking about is maybe what motivates you. Maybe it's self-mastery, developing and growing. Maybe that is something that's really motivating you to do more and to achieve things in your life. Maybe it's getting recognition and approval from other folks. Maybe it's a desire to win. Maybe you are a competitive person. There's nothing wrong with that, right? And maybe that desire to win or come out on top is something that really drives you to work hard. Maybe it's your desire to be the best. Maybe it's a passion for helping others, a desire to give back. Maybe it's just loving what you do. No, Taylor, you only need 4 for this month because we're only going to do 4. I know there's technically 5 weekends, but we're only going to do 4 with ambition. So yeah, and like Katie's saying in the chat, don't forget to turn off the editing filter. Give yourself permission to write what you think. So I'll go back and forth between this slide and this one. Again, remember pictures, screenshots, if you want to give yourself a little more time than what I give you with one song, right? And then we'll check back in. Feel free to share in the chat kind of what you're thinking, how you're answering this question, and then we'll check back in here in just a few moments. Oh my goodness. I knew that our super creative, super smart Sonder fam would have some fabulous answers to this. And I love that for some of you, it was popping up really quickly. Now, for some of you, you're like, I'm still not sure. I don't know. And that's okay, right? Kind of think about this, for the rest of the week. Kind of think about what what drives you to achieve more. And I saw folks saying things like curiosity, right? Maybe it's you're curious about finding out what you can do, finding out maybe those things that you didn't know were possible. Somebody else had said that it's kind of like their legacy, right? What drives them is to leave a legacy, to what will they be remembered for, right? And so that kind of drives them to achieve something that will be lasting longer than they are. The desire to learn, right? Learning and growing, finding new things. It is exciting. It is a fun thing. It can be frustrating at first, right? Remember how I said sometimes achievement links into failure, or yeah, it can link into failure, right? So sometimes ambition links to failure because we have this ambition, we try something new and we fail, but we try again, or we try something different, or we try it in a different way. So think about this. If you didn't have a chance to really dig deeply into it, that's absolutely okay. This is a good question to kind of think about. And again, I know I'm going to kind of go through here and see, when we're working on something else, and see if I can take some notes on this, because these are great. And if you want to share your mind map in Sonder Club, that's always fabulous. It's always helpful for other folks. And I know I'm going to be sharing this because I know some people couldn't make it to tonight's social. So after this is over, I'll be posting it in Sonder Club. But if you want to share your examples or what you wrote down, that would be lovely as well. So I did want to point out a few things that are new if you haven't seen this already in the January journal, or if you're new, obviously you don't know that these things are new, so you don't have to worry about this part so much. But a couple exciting things, right? So first of all, in the meal plan, they took away the words breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack. So it's all just a big empty box that we can use for lots of different things. And when we get to that section to work on, you can see how that will help with some of the repurposing ones. They also switched up Saturday and Sunday page, right? Because it used to be they were kind of two horizontal boxes, and now they're vertical. They look just like the other days of the week, which I love. And then they put rosebud thorn also vertical, which I think is lovely. And then also, not that we're necessarily going to work on this or do any changes or do any work with this, but there is also the sleep tracker. A lot of folks thought it was a little too complicated, so they simplified things a little bit, but not everybody uses the sleep tracker. So just wanted to point those things out so that you can kind of see those things are, those are some new things to kind of keep an eye out if you are a continuing Sonder fam, right? And keep in mind that a lot of these changes come from suggestions that you make to when you send the hello@silkandsonder.com. And it can take a while, right? Because they set these up, they get the templates all going like a year in advance. So I think we already have all through December in 2024. So sometimes they can't change them quickly, but they do try to listen, and they try to incorporate some of those changes that a lot of folks have. Also, I saw somebody say they didn't have the definition of the theme, which normally they do have. That's because they took that page up with the yearly reflections. So the definition, hopefully for next month's theme, which I'm not going to tell you, for the February theme, hopefully that page 3 will be a definition again. So let's dive into that rosebud thorn. Now, if all you have is the January journal, that's absolutely okay. You're just going to want to put this maybe on a blank page. Maybe you're going to want to put this on the weekly spread, which was on page, I think, 20. What did I say? I'm trying to flip through my journal really quick. On page 27, 28. Yeah, Tanya, a lot of folks are saying they want a template for the mind map. Those were new. We came up with those, I think, last year. So suggestions, send that suggestion to hello@silkandsonder.com, and we'll see what that looks like. Obviously, we wouldn't have the questions in there yet because we go over those in the socials. But so each week, at the end of the week, we like to take a minute to kind of look back and reflect back on what we did this last week, right? And so if you have December, you can use the December journal for Rosebud Thorn, which is on page 56. If you only have January, again, that's okay. Maybe you want to do that on page 29 where it says scratch pad. You could do that there. You could do it on a sticky note, like wherever. It's just taking a moment to reflect on your rose, which is a highlight, something that was made you smile, something that made you happy, something that was really fun, something that went really well. And so for me, I put a picture. This is my cat, Mr. Simba, and he loves to sit on me while I'm knitting. So I was knitting this pink fuzzy blanket. And so this is him kind of sitting and squishing himself in my face. So that was definitely, it's always fun to get some snuggle time with my kitty. The bud is an emerging opportunity, something that's coming up, something that you're looking forward to, something that will be fun. Um, and so for me, coming up next month, I'm in a book club and we're going to be reading the Desire Map, which I think sounds really interesting. There's a workbook that goes with it. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how that goes. And then your thorn is something that's frustrated. I saw Nathania's putting COVID Christmas, right? So illness definitely can be a thorn for me. Having to go back to work is going to be a bit of a thorn. As I think about the next week, because it's always a little tough after this break, right? So I'm going to play a little bit of music. Feel free to share. Yes, Mr. Simba is definitely treated like the king that he is. Well, I think he knows he rules the house. So he gets very mad when I do these socials because I have to shut the door because otherwise he wants to be up in my lap, which makes it really hard to run the computer. So yeah, so remember the rose is a highlight, something fun, something nice, something that made you smile, something happy. The bud is something you're looking forward to, that emerging opportunity. And the thorn is something that's a challenge, right? Something that maybe is a little frustrating, something that doesn't go quite how you want. So I'll play just a little bit of music and then we'll check back in here in just a moment. Thank you all so much for sharing those rose, bud, and thorns. Definitely saw some folks with thorns getting sick, not feeling well over Christmas, but also lots of roses with folks being able to be with family, having a good holiday season so far. I was kind of looking through here. Let's see what else. Preparing for 2024. One thing I did want to point out is that sometimes your rose, your bud, and your thorn is actually the same thing. And when we were working on redoing our bedroom this summer, the remodel of the bedroom definitely was the rose, the bud, and the thorn, because it definitely hit all of those qualifications. So it's just always nice to take just a little bit of time, reflect back on this last week, and then really kind of think of the fact that on a weekly basis, we have things that are roses, we have things that are highlights, and sometimes they're small, right? Sometimes they're a little thing. And then we have things to look forward to. And then we have those things that are the annoying thing, the rose, the thing that's prickly, right? You could even do this on a daily basis if you want. I know some people in the one thing column on the daily spread, they will put their rose for the day. So that's always a possibility of something that you can do as well. So let's dive into our weekly planner, right? And we're going to kind of go over a few of the different sections here at a time, just because I want to make sure that we have plenty of time to go over each one, right? So the first thing is this week I want to feel. And it's a lot of people will say, why is this a thing? Like they kind of want to skip over it. And I kind of think to me, this is like the intention for how you want to show up this week, right? How do you want to feel? How do you want to show up for the world, right? And so this could be one word. This could be Elizabeth saying, I want to not feel sick. So you want to feel well, you want to feel healthy, optimistic, right? Maybe it's several words, maybe it's a phrase, maybe it's an affirmation or some sort of a mantra. Maybe you just want to put a sticker in here, right? Like a happy sun sticker or something like that. Yeah, Tracy's saying it really helps kind of set the tone for the week. This is on page 26 of your January journal. Maybe you want to put in a picture, maybe it's something you want to focus on, maybe it's a quote. Laura, I love prepared, not scared. Joy, productive, rejuvenated. I'm seeing all these great words: ready, in control, comfort, warm. Maybe it's creative, curious, calm, renewed. Any of those kinds of words, those things that kind of helps you set the tone for how you dive into this next week. And then once you have that, I want you to see how you can create your weekly major 3 goals that will help, if you achieve those goals, how they could help you with that feeling for the week, right? And so here's some examples of things that folks have done before. So somebody wanted to feel present and grounded. So their goals were breathe, move, and notice. Invigorated, someone has a goal for their mind, their body, and their soul. Feeling energized, again, they have mind, body, and work, right? So kind of seeing these are the goals that they have. Feeling joyful, their goals are do, love, and be. I think this works out really nice. And a lot of times the goals work better if they're a little more broad, right? So things like breathe and move and notice, those are broad categories for goals. But then when you get over to the to-do section, then that's where you get all of those activities, right? So if your major goal is to breathe and you want to feel present and grounded, so maybe one of your to-dos is to meditate for a minute or 5 minutes or something every day, or to do a breathing exercise on your app. If move is one of your goals, maybe you want to go for a walk outside. Maybe you want to dance around the kitchen for 5 minutes to a song, right? Those kinds of things. Here's some other examples of things that folks have done. They have like a me, home, and work. So they've kind of divided those 3 goals into different areas. That one person, I love the left brain, right brain, and no brain, right? So the left brain activity, they want to have a right brain goal, and they want to have kind of a no brain that's more of a feeling, not necessarily a brain thing. Again, mind, body, spirit. Some people's goals are declutter, organize, and clean. And if goals are not your jam, right? If you're like, I have major monthly goals, but I don't necessarily have them for the week, maybe you want to repurpose this section for 3 new words, maybe some movies, TV shows, a playlist, fun activities for yourself, or those kinds of things. All right. Oops. So I'll cycle through this slide and this slide, let you work on that. Let us know. And I know a lot of you already let us know your feeling. Let us know your goal. And then we'll check back in here in just a few moments to work on our to-dos and our activities. All right. So I know that was fast, right? And again, remember these socials a lot of times are to give you ideas. And often folks say they don't get everything done and filled out during a social, but they get lots of ideas. So make sure that you're taking notes, kind of writing things down with those sticky notes. So, kind of thinking about what those goals are, how you want to feel. So maybe you've got an idea for your goals, and you could always just do one goal for the week, right? You could have one major goal that you want to focus on for the week, or two, right? We always recommend not having more than 3 because that can set us up for some stress, right? So again, 3 major goals, or 2, or 1, or you can totally repurpose this section for whatever works for you. So we've got our goals, we've got how we want to feel. Now we need to kind of move over to that weekly to-do list. And so lots of different ways to do this. I'm going to show you some different examples. A lot of folks like the Eisenhower matrix, which basically what you do is you can kind of have your to-do list or all your activities listed out, and then you put them in a quadrant, right? So things are important and urgent, not important, but urgent, not important, not urgent, and not important, and then delete, right? So there's some things that you have to set, you want to do, you want to delegate, decide, or delete, right? So oftentimes there's things, I had one person who set theirs up as a column that said necessary and delightful, right? So it's like, here's the things that I absolutely have to do. Here's the things that would just be delightful to be able to do, which is kind of like the Eisenhower matrix, but a little bit simpler, right? Yeah, and like Katie's saying too, is your journal should not be a negative trigger, but something you can give yourself a challenge or maybe push yourself to help you meet your goals. So here's another example. Maybe you want to do a need, want, and hope to-do list, right? So here's the things I need to do. Here's the things I want to do. And here's the hopes that I have for this week, or the hope the things that maybe I'm hoping for the week. And the hoping things could be feelings or emotions or things you want to experience for the week. Here's some other examples of things that folks have done. I like the now and later, reminds me of those candies, the now and later candies, right? So something I want to do now, something they want to do later this week. You can make a to-do or a to-da list. So sometimes that ta-da is after you do something, you write it down. Ta-da. Yeah, Amy's saying I'm a big ta-da bingo person because it makes me feel good about key things I want to achieve. Some people divide it into work and home. We have AM, PM. So sometimes you want to divide something into things you want to do in the morning, things you want to do in the evening. And these are kind of look like maybe some routines if you're working on setting those up for the new year. Needs and wants, school and personal, right? And then the bingo is always very popular for this particular section. Yeah, Elizabeth's saying I'm team bingo, love a good bingo board. Yes, our Sonder fam loves bingo. So that's always kind of a fun way. You can set it up as a to-do or a ta-da. Again, ta-das are kind of like, ta-da, I did it. Maybe you want to make a list of things you don't want to do. Maybe you want to make a list of to be instead of to do. So I want to be grounded, compassionate, reflective, active, delighted. I want to be kind, be calm, be purposeful. So there's lots of different ways you can kind of think about going through those to-dos. So then people will ask, okay, well, what is this habit activity thing? How do those tie in? So some people use these interchangeably, and I'm going to show you some examples of those so you can kind of see maybe what makes sense to you as you are setting this up. So for some people, they fill in all 5 lines or 6 lines. No, 5 lines. Yes, 5. 5 lines. Some people only put 1. Some people will put a goal for how many times they want to do that day. So again, some of these things could be put on a to-do list, but sometimes it's more fun to put them on this little habit activity list, keeping in mind that that habit wheel at the beginning of the month is more for things you want to do every single day. This is more for things that are very specific to the week. So often I will put things like pack my lunch for work 4 days a week, right? And notice this one down in the bottom, they actually kind of highlight the circle around the days that they want to do the thing, right? So they have no dessert with dinner. They want to do it 2 times, Thursday and Saturday. They're not going to have dessert with dinner. I put on mine, one of the things I put on mine was fill in my mind or my mood and my habit tracker wheel. And I put that for all 7 days because that will remind me to go back to those pages to fill those out. And I think I have, so here's some other examples for things that people have done. Some people don't like to use the habit activity section, and so they put a lot of stickers in. Some people, like if you're going on vacation or something's happening and you're like, nope, I'm not going to do this section. I love that. Maybe there's some easy self-care habits to bring into 2024 that came from our Silk and Sonder Instagram page. Maybe it's things to leave in 2023. So this is kind of more of a to don't list, things I don't want to do or habits or activities I don't want to engage in this week. Or maybe it's things about organizing your life. It says before the new year, but it could be like during the first week of the new year, like decluttering, vacuuming, clothing swap, practicing gratitude, those kinds of things. So I see some folks are kind of sharing some different things in there. I'll play a little song. I'll cycle through all of these slides so you can see these examples again, and then we'll check back and then we'll move on to the next page. Right. Love everybody's ideas there. I love that you were all singing along. Yes, I definitely like to sing along with the music in the car. Usually I'm by myself though, so it doesn't make anybody too crazy. But so hopefully you've got some ideas now for those sections, because I want to jump over to page 27. And I'm going to go over all these sections together, because I know for a lot of people, this is, I think, probably one of the more repurposed areas. It's all about kind of like, what do I need this week? What do I need to keep track of? And especially if you're new, this can get overwhelming, right? I saw lots of folks in Sonder Club saying like, oh my gosh, this is so overwhelming. There's so many things. So if you leave this part blank, or you just fill it up with fun stickers or sayings or those kinds of things, absolutely fine for this first week, right? Don't try to add lots and lots of new things. Yeah, and like Monica's saying, Katie, my co-facilitator here, she calls this the B side, right? So like our album, it's the B side. Sometimes, or a record you want to listen to the B side. Sometimes the B side's good. Sometimes you don't need the B side, right? So kind of think about that. And of course we have our beautiful, beautiful, these are the old examples, because I don't have any new examples because it's just new for January. So we need everybody to post your examples for what you do with the meal plan, so that we can have those, right? But so some people use this to do daily affirmations. They do a daily debrief, they do symptoms or health tracker. Now, don't get me wrong, you can totally use this to plan and or track your food, right? And sometimes I recommend to new folks to try and use it as it's intended or as it's recommended and see how it works for you. Some people say like, I only plan dinner, right? So this is a great place. You can kind of plan out dinner, or if you need to remember like grocery store things, those kinds of things. You could do make a chore list or any appointments or socials that you have for the week. Maybe it's a wardrobe planner. A lot of times if I'm traveling, this is where I kind of plan out what I'm going to wear for the week. Again, lots of different ways you can do like feels and meals. So sometimes how you're feeling when you eat, or how you feel after you eat, those kinds of things. Yeah, you don't need the washi or the correction tape for this section anymore, because it's all nice and clear. So that is super, super exciting. One of the things, and I don't have an example of it up there, but I know somebody did one time, is they took their feeling, right? So this week I want to feel blank. And so they put, today I was blank by doing whatever, and they filled that in for this space. So that's kind of a fun way to do that as well. So mind body health plan, what is that kind of intended? The idea is it's intended for you to kind of schedule something for your mind or your body on a daily basis. But you can see lots of folks repurpose this. Again, fabulous place for a bingo. Maybe it's a place where you want to write something you did well this week, some ways you loved others this week. Maybe it's the fix a small annoyance at home that's been nagging you. Katie, did you fix the light bulb yet? But I thought that was kind of a fun place to put no, she still hasn't. She has a light bulb that's burnt out and she still hasn't fixed it. So we'll see if that happens. Or again, different things for like a Sunday night. Oh, she did fix a slow drain situation. So, okay, so that's awesome. So those are some fun ways to do it. You could also do like a self-esteem journal. Again, this is a good time to take some pictures. So things that you can remember. Maybe it's a micro habit. Maybe it's you want to fill your cup this week. Maybe if folks are still kind of doing the hygge thing, it is still cold and wintry, and this might be an even more important time to engage in that Scandinavian practice of hygge, like the cozy, snuggly wintertime, because a lot of the holiday lights start coming down and those kinds of things. So maybe you want to kind of try to keep that in mind as you work on that. And then our shopping list, right? We can use that for shopping. We can use for things we need to buy. I love the social check-in tracker where they have the different people and how they checked in with those different people on a daily basis. Maybe it's ways that you're filling your cup. Maybe it's, again, another bingo. These are all on page 27. So these are all the different sections, right? So there's 1, 2, 3, 3 of them. And then there's also the fun 4th section, which is the I am loving, right? So again, this is kind of like whatever you're loving. Maybe you're loving that it's going to be a new year. Maybe you're loving kitten snugglies, maybe any of those kinds of things, right? Oh yeah, and Kay's saying that there's a great Sonder Social in the YouTube channel that we'll put that link in there. So that's kind of a fun one to watch. I think we did that one last year. So that was super fun. So I'm going to play a little music. I know we're running kind of long on time. If you ever have to leave, no worries. Do what you need to do as you're kind of going through. The social will be recorded and posted up there, hopefully soon. So let us know how you're repurposing any of these, and we'll check back in here in just a moment. All right. So I know we're running short on time, so I wanted to make sure, again, we went through those examples, and I did mention Sonder Club. So if you don't have the Sonder Club app on your phone, strongly recommend popping that one on there. You should be able to find it like in your Google Play Store or in the, what's the Apple one? The Apple app section, right? And you can download, it's free to download. Sometimes it's a little bit persnickety when you go to sign up, but it is included in your journal subscription. So if you have any trouble, you can always email hello@silkandsonder.com. Yes, and Monica's saying this always seems like the fastest hour. Absolutely is. So please, 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 if you have a chance, share that weekly planner with us. Again, this is where we get all of our examples and folks can kind of see how you're using it. So love to see those. I did want to put up a couple different examples really quick if you want to take some snapshots of how people set up their week, those days, different ways to kind of do that. Sometimes it's just, for me, a lot of times it's just a list, appointments and those kinds of things I have. But you could put like highs and lows, a brain dump, ways you're doing self-care, those kinds of things. Yes, the monthly setup videos are posted now. There's 2 of them. That we did 3, but mine's not up there. I'm not sure why, but that's okay because Jen O's is up there and Katie's is up there. So you've got a couple different ones to choose from. And then here's just a couple other different ways that folks have set this up as well. So again, thank you so much for joining us. I'm pretty sure this weekly setup one is going to get posted pretty soon, but the weekly setups are really the same. I mean, we pretty much work on the exact same pages, exact same sections. We give some different examples. There's lots of different, examples from facilitators, those kinds of things. So thank you all so much for joining us. We do still have the refer a friend program going, where if you refer a friend, they join with your link, you get $10, they get $10. I think they still have the upgrading to an annual subscription. If you pay for it all at once, then you can save $110. There is a survey that should come in your email that will ask you if there's anything that you want with these socials. I always tell people, if you have some specific times that you want to see socials, let them know the time, but also let them know the time zone you are talking about so that they know that. And I hope everyone has a fabulous, safe, happy new year. Hopefully you're doing something fun, and that something fun could be, for me, sitting in front of the TV and knitting and watching the Twilight Zone marathon on Sci-Fi Channel. That's our little tradition. And hopefully we will see you again on another social in the future. So we have high hopes for this 2024. And so we're going to take all of you with us into 2024 and have a fabulous, fabulous year. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you soon.
Mama said, fulfill the prophecy, be something great. Go make a legacy, manifest destiny. Back in the days we wanted everything, wanted everything. Mama said, burn your biographies, rewrite your history. Light up your wildest dreams, museum victories. Every day we wanted everything, wanted everything. Mama said